Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, His good, pleasing, and perfect will. There is wisdom in the verse Romans 12:2, where it seeks to guide us away from worldly conformity and toward transformation through the renewal of our mind. The importance here is not to lose ourselves in the patterns of this world, but to cultivate our unique individuality and discernment, to judge what is good, acceptable, and the perfect will of God. Now, imagine a young school teacher named Sarah who taught in a small town. Sarah was popular for her unique teaching methods and the love she had for her craft. She was not a conformist and often bucked traditional teaching methods. However, one day the school board, composed of traditionalists, passed a strict standard of teaching methods. They made it clear that any deviation would lead to termination. Sarah was puzzled. She valued her job, but was uneasy about changing her teaching methods that had always worked. Suddenly, Sarah found herself conforming. She adhered strictly to the standard teaching guide in fear of losing her job. She was blending into the system, her uniqueness fading, and it seemed she had lost her spark. Her students, once active and expressive, also started to become less engaged. This was the turning point for Sarah. She realized that conformation was not her true self. She needed to be transformed and renew her mind. She chose to stick to her teaching style, but this time with subtle modifications to meet some of the school board's guidelines. She was determined to prove that her distinctive method was equally effective, if not more so. One evening, she prepared a unique lesson incorporating elements from the guide, yet creatively delivered in her own style. The following day, her students were so engaged, they began to interact and learn enthusiastically. Sarah documented this and presented it to the school board. She didn't discard the new rules entirely. Rather, she transformed them, renewing her perspective to fulfill her unique pedagogical style. She proved that a nonconformist approach could also be good, acceptable, and effective. The unfolding of Sarah's story shows Romans 12:2 in action. She had a choice, to conform or to transform and renew her mind, and her courage of choosing the latter led her to acquaint her community with innovative teaching methods. Now, what can we take away from this? The precious gift of Romans 12:2 is understanding that our individuality is not an opponent, but an ally in our spiritual journey. It teaches us that the renewal of our mind comes from embracing our uniqueness within God's plan and not by abduction by the world's desirable conformity. The scriptural verse invites us to be authentic to our true selves while striving to understand and resonate with what is good, acceptable, and the perfect will of God in our life. In conclusion, Romans 12:2 is a guiding beacon, enlightening us on how to navigate a world that often demands conformity. It's a reminder that our true value lies not in blending in, but in transforming and renewing our minds to resonate with God's intentions and express our individual purpose within His larger plan.